the cost. That's what you have to pay.
Yeah. Otherwise, you'll be earning points for every purchase. Currently, what we're looking at as far as how the points and the rewards are going to work is that you'll earn 10 points for every $1 spent, and then for 1,000 points, you can cash that in for a $10 off coupon, basically.
In the Midwest, you know the best is there waiting, so come and join the conversation. Eisner approved, fan and artist and creator too. This is how the challengers do. What? Keep the conversation moving along. Keep reading comics, keep your local store strong. If it's hard, then it's a job for the challengers. Comics and conversation, y'all.
From Challengers Comics and Conversation in Chicago, this is Contest of Challengers, a comics industry business podcast with Patrick Brower and W. Dal Bush.
This podcast notebook is with me every second I'm at work.
Wow.
And usually within reach at home.
Mm-hmm.
So whenever there's a topic that we are talking about at the store or something that comes up on the internet or anything that I think is podcast topic worthy, I jot it down so we're ready to record.
Sure, that's a great policy.
Thanks. So here we are for the page for today.
Oh, Patrick, there's nothing written on there but the episode number.
It's completely blank except for number 634.
Uh-oh.
Last week was one of those like, I got a bunch of little things we can talk about, and I'm sure that they will merit longer discussion.
Marvel just showed off the Hellfire Gala variant covers for the, I guess, month that the Hellfire Gala is happening.
With variant covers?
27 variant covers, including ones for, like, Fantastic Four, Guardians of the Galaxy.
I'm sure that they're all going to be at the Hellfire Gala.
I don't know that
the Guardians in the midst of their space adventures will be at the gala.
Is Iceman usually known as a Fantastic Four member? Is that why he's the variant cover for Fantastic Four that month?
Yeah, you know how the Fantastic Four's powers are all element-based? He's the water one.
They all are, yes.
Yeah, he's the water one.
Yep.
I'm sorry you don't know your Fantastic Four lore enough.
Apparently not.
I don't know how to really sum up these ideas. I don't know. Feelings is the wrong word, but it is a time of so much extra stress in the retail market.
Oh, yeah.
And it just... I don't want to downplay anybody who regularly faces a life filled with depression and has to work through it, but it's depressing.
It really is, yeah. It's weird to think back to the pandemic as a time of like relative stability,
certainty.
Yeah, I mean, like certainly the early months were very like, we don't know when we'll be able to reopen. We don't know if books are going to come out again. We don't know if people are going to feel comfortable shopping at the store. But like 2021 for us was really good in a way that now feels like so distant. Not even 2 years on.
When Dow says good, what he means is
financially good for us.
No, you mean there's a structure and we were working hard, but it wasn't weighing on us.
Well, no, I mean there were things to complain about for sure. Like we were getting run ragged by how much extra work things took and how things that were shifting in the distribution channels were causing extra stress. But financially, it didn't feel that bad. It felt like there was an overall reward for it, and we were making like positive progress as far as like the store's safety and then our ability to
survive.
No, I wasn't going to even say survive, but to think about ways to improve and grow the business. Like the immediacy of the paycheck to paycheck of it all, so to speak, wasn't a concern. So we were able to think like long term about where we want the store to go and how we want to grow it.
Look, that is all actually true.
It is.
But there's two major factors I would like to caveat that with.
Okay.
One, we're spending so much more money to do the same things we were doing back then.
Correct.
We weren't making... on paper, our bottom line wasn't bigger then than it is now. It's just that we're spending so much more.
Sure. Well,
but
also, I would argue that is not as big as 2021 probably would have been once we get deeper into 2023.
Sure. But also, God, I hope you're wrong. Man, do I hope you're wrong.
I hope I'm wrong too. I hope there's things we can do to make that not occur.
Also, during that time period, we had... Actually, I don't know if 2021 is the right time for it, but we had help from a lot of other avenues. We had
we did
government assistance.
Oh, yeah, I mean,
we had
there's a whole
grants,
bunch of things.
We had loans.
Yeah, there's a whole bunch of stuff above and beyond the store's income that made things easier for us. But I mean, that doesn't get away from the fact that like business was good in 2021.
Yeah, and we took every single penny and put it back into the store.
Yeah, absolutely.
And there were points where I used to, when the store was closed, and we had comfortable chairs, and when I say closed, I mean closed for the day, not like shut down for the pandemic.
Sure.
There were nights
you couldn't go to the store. We were shut down for the pandemic.
Yeah. I was shut down physically as well for a good couple of months. But there were points when the store was done for the day and all the lights were off and we still had the red IKEA chairs, that I would just sit in the chairs and exist in the space because it just felt so good to be there.
Sure.
Because it was so well laid out and well designed and comfortable, and it was a thing we were so proud of.
Yes.
And now it's not that we're not proud of it, it's that all we see and feel is the chaos surrounding its meager day-to-day existence. And that because of the way things are now, there's so many changes we had to make, and there's so many design and stylistic changes that we've made to the store that are necessity and not practicality.
How do you mean?
Anything on top of the red bookshelves.
Oh, yeah.
All the stuff we have to keep under the front tables.
Yeah. I don't know that stuff really bothers me a whole lot.
I hate how it's always... Do you know how crowded it's going to be Free Comic Day week? Because we're going to have all the Free Comic Day books and all of the new books for the next week. And like just having that stuff on the sales floor.
Well, I mean, the new books for the week will just go on top of the manga bookshelves. And then the Free Comic Day comics will go on the racks in the other room. Is that not what you mean?
I feel like it's going to look and feel more cluttered.
Free Comic Day, at least for the last 5 years, has always felt a little too full in the store because we have so many fixtures and we only have so much free space to begin with, and then we have to start moving things around to make room for new racks and two plus creators, whatever we're doing for the year. It's always... Free Comic Day is always too full in the store. I wish the store was an additional 1,000 square feet when it comes time to do Free Comic Day.
Yeah, we're always envious of the people that have giant parking lots. They can set up tents. They could have full conventions out in their lot. They could have the Batmobile or the Ghostbusters station wagon or just the...
I'm always a little ambivalent about that because I do think there is part of me is like, yeah, sure, you put the creators outside in a tent, you put the free comics out in the tent, it's frees up space and it doesn't, impinge upon the sales floor and people can still walk around, but then it's like, you put everything outside, why are people coming into the store? Maybe they do, maybe they don't, but with Free Comic Book Day for Challengers, you have to go into the store to get the comics, and then you have to go into the actual sales floor to get out.
Yeah.
I think that's definitely helpful.
It's so weird. Well, it's not weird. It's exactly the same way it is for every other aspect of this industry. You can take 5 different stores and ask their Free Comic Book Day experiences and traffic and sales and what they do, and they are the complete opposite ends of the spectrum from the rest of them. It's all, the stores that give away millions of comics.
Yeah.
We've ordered less than ever this year because I'm tired of having stuff left over.
Yeah, we have the last 2 years worth of books.
Yeah.
That we're probably still going to be giving up. People who miss them.
I have a plan for those books,
yeah.
But a lot of it requires participation of Chicago weather.
Okay.
Which we don't usually
into
get.
The river. Patrick,
great.
I don't think you're allowed to do that.
I want to go to the same spot that the Dave Matthews bus was on. Yeah.
Pour all the free comics from 2022 and 2021 onto a boat that's floating underneath.
Yep. Make sure they're stamped with stickers from our store and all that kind of stuff. We've already started the physical aspect of Free Comic Book Day at the store, because a lot of stuff is kept off-site now as far as shelving and racks and things go.
Yeah. Well,
And-
when you only need it for like really one day out of the year, there's no sense in keeping it
Right. Sure.
in the store or the back room.
Yeah. That being said, I may find room for those 8 panels to stay, just because that's easier.
Sure.
And we've been selling the panels, and I don't want to accidentally sell ones we're going to use.
Sure.
But then if we do sell them, it'd be like, oh, I'll give the people that are showing up these because I don't have to go anywhere.
Right.
I get them, they're right there. So
That
anyway,
makes sense.
we still have so many shelves, though.
Oh, yeah.
So many
Forever.
shelves. Yeah.
An entire store's
Yeah,
worth.
and until we decide to re-rack all graphic novels on grid wall shelves, I don't think we're ever going to need them.
I'm sure that'll be that'll look good, and those won't warp in any way.
No, not at all. I worked at a store downtown that did it that way forever.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Gonna bag them all and fan them out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we had to bag them all because the way they would get caught on the metal shelves and everything.
Sure.
I know people didn't like that, but it was a necessity to keep the books salvaged and sellable.
Mm-hmm.
As opposed to the UPS driver who came in just cradling an armful of books because the box disintegrated as he picked it up off the
Yeah,
truck.
thank you, Simon & Schuster.
Yeah. And I have to say, as far as the condition of those books, if we were selling them, if they were for us to sell,
Yeah.
they would have all been received as normal.
Yeah, I think that I thought they were fine.
Yeah.
Not perfect, sure,
Right.
but fine. But they were for somebody else.
Yeah.
And that person decided they were not fine.
Which, fine.
Okay.
So, Free Comic Book Day, it is Saturday, May 6th. Always the first Saturday in May. Usually right behind a Marvel movie. This year that movie is Guardians of the Galaxy, who are not at all represented with a Free Comic Day book.
Nope. They do have a new comic that just came out.
They do have a new comic that is vastly unlike the actual movie.
Correct.
But that's the way it always is, so
Yeah.
that's fine. We will have in attendance absolute Kyle Starks, Russell Boy Kyle Starks,
Yep.
all nicknames we've given him, not ones that he uses regularly.
We'll see.
Well, I mean, that he's chosen on his own, I guess I should say.
Yes.
It is a triple Kyle week that week for the comic shop. It's the debut week for Peacemaker Tries Hard, which we've read the first issue of, and it is excellent. And it is also the final issue of Where Monsters Lie, which we've read already and is excellent. And it is an issue, not a first or last issue of I Hate This Place. All 3 of those books come out that week. It's a huge... I think that's maybe the only time he said 3 books in a week.
It's a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. Three good books, too. 3 solid books we're happy to,
That's hard to
be
do.
behind. And then we also have Russell Boy's Stephanie Meided, who is signing.
Yep.
Stephanie has her own Wrestle comic graphic novel coming out this fall called Club Kickout,
Yeah.
about a group of young kids who start their own wrestling promotion. We have not read that yet, but
No.
maybe I'll bug her for a preview.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
And we definitely plan to do something with her when that comes out. Don't know what yet. Maybe literally start our own wrestling federation and wrestle.
Yeah, we got some extra fluorescent light bulbs in the back.
Yeah. Man, that electrician.
Sorry to bring that up.
So, I mean, I thought it was going to be done by the anniversary party. Now it's not even going to be done by Free Comic Book Day.
Nope.
Yeah, no one notices but us. It's fine. So, Stephanie Meided and Kyle Starks at the store on Free Comic Book Day. We're not trying to overload it. We're not trying to have too many people. We don't want to overwork them, but we also want to give people an extra reason to hang around the store.
Hopefully it'll be fun.
As well as cosplayers. I believe the... Oh, I don't remember the adjective. Was it the not unbeatable, not uncanny, unstoppable Bagman?
I thought it was Amazing Bagman.
Is it Amazing Bagman?
It's
Okay.
amazing.
Okay. The Amazing Bagman, I believe, will be in attendance.
Okay, cool.
And I literally have no idea what the other costumes are.
Hopefully something good.
I also, at this point, should have reached out to Drew and Ashley to see if they're around, but I haven't. But it's usually Ashley's birthday.
Yeah, that's true.
And the usual, you know what it's like.
A lot of
And
free comics?
I think that a lot of people in Chicago are spoiled because of how many stores there are, and they do a lot of store hopping.
Yeah.
I know we're going to have a couple of unique books that I don't think a lot of other people will have, but not a thing that necessarily makes people like have to make us your first stop.
Sure.
Yeah, the selection of free comics is always such a weird. Half of it's just previews of stuff that's either already out or coming out, and so it's nothing new.
Right.
Really. So
But it doesn't matter. Like, that's the thing that we found out over the years is that, like, if Marvel or DC does an all-new piece of content, you know, hyping up a new event or a new series that's
like
going to be coming
Connect
out.
Terrors.
Yeah, or, you know, here's a Spider-Man short story that's going to conclude in Spider-Man later this year, or an X-Men thing. There's, like, comic fans of it, people who are already buying books are going to pick those up. But they were already going to buy the thing it's leading into anyway, and most of the people who are coming in for Free Comic Book Day won't be back for anything until next Free Comic Book Day. So they don't...
It doesn't translate.
It being new content that promotes something is irrelevant. It might as well be a reprint because it's all new to them. As long as it wasn't in last year's Free Comic Book Day Spider-Man comic, it's probably fine.
Also, was it the Spider-Man and Venom one that had... It must be, because that's the only one I've read.
I haven't read any of them yet.
The Spider-Man and Venom one has the Ultimate Invasion preview.
Oh, okay.
It's 2 pages.
Yeah, that's interesting.
It's actually 4 pages, but 2 of those 4 pages are just a double-page pinup of a bunch of heroes descending on a building.
Okay.
It's literally just 2 pages from the book.
Okay.
It's and I'm just going to ruin it for everyone. It's Maker talking to Miles.
Okay.
That's it.
All right.
I've had people be like, "Oh, I'm excited to see that." I'm like, well, you're not.
Yeah. Don't get too excited.
And I like Zeb Wells.
Uh-huh.
I did not say hi to him at C2E2, though. Even though he was in between 2 people I was talking to, I'd bypass his table.
I didn't say hi to him because he always had a line of people whenever I saw him.
He did
so
not
it's
have a
just
line of
like,
people
I don't know him. I don't want to butt in. And I also don't want to stand in line for 20 minutes.
I do think his wife, Heidi Gardner, is doing some pretty great work on Shrinking.
Okay.
Her role is small, no
Get
pun
it.
intended,
Yeah, too late.
but it is it's a good role.
Okay.
But the Free Comic Day Spider-Man story is so telegraphed and unnecessary.
Okay.
Yeah, it's weird. It's not weird. It's just it's less of a capital E event
Okay.
than I was hoping for, and I haven't read the Avengers one yet.
Okay.
But we have them all.
Yeah, I planned on digging some of them out to read them over the weekend, but then I didn't. So maybe next weekend. Definitely before Free Comic Book Day. It used to be I really wanted to read everything.
Yeah, then you would give your thoughts on everything on the podcast.
Not only that, but, you know, in case people had questions or if something was at the counter, I could be like, oh, that's not great or whatever. But then it's like, no one cares.
Let's talk about cross pulls.
Okay.
Are we pulling any of the books for people? Having read...
How do you feel about
Well,
that?
I was going to say, having read Spider-Man, it is so unnecessary.
Sure. I vacillated on that over the years. Once upon a time, it was like, absolutely. And then it was like, well, the point of Free Comic Book Day is to come in and get free comics.
Right.
So pulling stuff for people is defeating the purpose of Free Comic Book Day. And then the additional twist within the last few years is the number of people that we end up pulling stuff for that either, oh, I grabbed that during Free Comic Book Day and I just never saw them.
Yeah.
Or, and this is the one that burns me up, the amount of people that we end up dropping like a month after Free Comic Book Day, and
That
it's
have
like
free
all
comic
these
book
free
books.
comics, I got
Yep.
it. I might as well go in the garbage now. So like that was the point where I'm like, I don't know if this is worth doing anymore. If there was ever anything that was like on the level of the James Robinson was doing like a Superman miniseries, and the first issue was a Free Comic Day comic.
Right. That's the thing.
That I would do. But when it's just like a Spider-Man comic, Free Comic Book Day.
Is Knight Terrors a preview or an original story? Do we know?
I haven't read it, so I don't know.
Okay.
They have 2 different. So they have a like prelude issue and a number 1 coming out in whatever the next catalog is. Is that July?
Sure.
So I don't imagine that whatever is in the Free Comic Day comic is not in one of those 2 books.
Okay.
But I don't know for sure.
And don't they have like 4 books?
DC?
Yeah.
I don't know. They have a few. They have.
They're mainly previews of their
Yeah, they have Night
younger reader
Terrors,
books.
but then they have, I think, a YA and a kids book one.
Yeah,
and
there's like a Clark and Lex one.
Yeah, the Clark and Lex one, I think, is the kids book one.
And that book just came out this week, right?
No, that was the Lois Lane one.
Okay.
And I think the YA one maybe is Teen Titans stuff. I don't remember.
And Marvel has 4.
Yeah, but 2 of
Because
those
they've got
are reprint
Spidey
ones.
and Friends.
Yeah, Spidey and Friends, and then Voices one, which
Yeah.
I think is those are both reprint ones. And then the Avengers and Spider-Man ones.
Yeah. There doesn't seem to be a buzz around Free Comic Book Day or people talking about it or anything, but it's usually big.
Yeah, I think we've mentioned over the last few years, maybe not during the pandemic years when it was on weird dates or everyone was nervous about it. But
Or it was Free Comic Book Summer.
yeah, but 2019 and prior, I think we were always, not always, but more recently, surprised at how little buzz or interest there seemed to be in the weeks preceding Free Comic Book Day, and then Free Comic Book Day would be hundreds of people.
Do you
And
remember?
It's just like, how did you hear about this? Like, how did you know?
Like last year, we got to the store and there was nobody there.
Yeah.
We're like, what? What is happening? But by the time we opened, there was a line.
Yeah, because we'll usually get there like up to an hour beforehand because we want to be there. We want to be there ahead of everyone who's going to be helping us.
We buy donuts. We assign everybody's spots.
And we've got to be there to let in people who don't have keys who are going to be helping us out for the day, cosplayers and creators and whatnot. But there's... Yeah, you get there an hour beforehand, and it's like no one's in line. And then you look out half an hour later, and it's like there's 50 people in line. And then half an hour after that, it's like the line goes around the building.
Yeah, if I recall last year, though, we never had a line that was that long.
No, it was definitely more spaced out during the day. That was kind of nerve-wracking. Was never feeling like there was that critical mass that we'd normally see within the first hour.
Never the crush.
Right, which I guess is good. You know, if people are spacing out more, that's, less effort for everyone who's working during the day to have to deal with. But yeah, you as a store owner, you like to see an entirely full store of people. It's like, that's great.
Yeah.
When you see a 3/4 full store for an entire day, you're just like, oh, it never felt that busy.
Yeah, and it's, as always, when we have the potential for a major money-making day, that money is already earmarked.
Oh, yeah, entirely.
Completely.
Down to the penny.
Yeah.
And then some, probably.
All necessary to go elsewhere.
Yeah. It's a shame. Maybe one year we'll have a Free Comic Book Day where it's like, hey, that was a nice bonus, instead of like, oh, thank God.
Yeah. Or, oh, that wasn't enough.
Well, that's the thing. Like, what I'd like for a Free Comic Book Day is one where it doesn't have to be an exceptional day of business. Where if it does happen, great. If it doesn't happen, well, okay.
We have the note from your mom when she sent the balloons for the store's 15th anniversary.
Yeah.
It's on top of the stereo.
I've seen it.
And I see it almost every day when I'm turning the stereo on or connecting to the Wi-Fi.
Sure.
And every time, the first line is something like, congratulations on 15 successful years. And every day I'm like, well, 15 years.
15 years, some of them successful.
If you made success by still being here, we did it.
Yep. If your only metric for success is survival, we did it. Success.
Here is a question that was not posed to me, but it was posed, and I changed its context.
Okay.
And I think I'll give you the option of answering it 2 ways. Or not answering it at all.
Okay.
Would you be happier if there wasn't a Challengers?
No. I mean, short answer, no. What would the... Is there like an alternative?
Well, I think the answers are either A, that you just didn't have to work there anymore, or B, it never happened.
I mean, I guess it depends on, like, I'll give this a little bit more answer than I gave it before. Obviously, like, if I won the lottery tomorrow...
I don't think, no, that's not...
Like, if I didn't have to work anywhere, sure, yes, Jesus. I like the store and I like the people there, but if you're giving me the option of never having to work again and my life is the same, it's like, well, yeah, I'll not work
I
anymore.
hope if you won the lottery, your life would be better.
You'd hope. But I would take what I have now and not having to work.
Right.
No, I like the store. I mean, there are elements of running a business that are incredibly stressful. The market does things that you can't control, and there's things that you have to respond to, both, minute to minute.
The market does anything you can't control.
Yeah, well, there's things you have to respond to minute to minute, and then there's things you have to respond to over a much longer timeline, and those are all different kinds of stressful. But, and I think I've said this before, you could work for somebody else and get fired tomorrow. Like,
sure.
There's no job stability anywhere. There's very little work that people do in the world where it's like, you can do that job and then not have to worry. Like, all jobs have a worry built into them. That's capitalism, man.
You could be a billionaire, yet still have your giant phallic penis-shaped rocket explode shortly after it launches.
For example.
That was just a random possibility.
But yeah, like, even if Challengers was massively successful and we had multiple stores, I worked for people who had multiple stores and they were stressed out of their minds. And that's something we would look at and consider.
That's because they had to work with us, Dal.
That's true. We were a handful. But that's something that from the outside you would look at and go, well, that's real success. Like, that's financial stability. And it's like, holy shit, it's not. Like, our stress now in 2023 is greater than it would have been in, like, 2021, not just financially, but because we have somebody who works for us now. And we are responsible for their financial security in a way that we didn't have to worry about for other people before.
Weirdly, I still don't worry about her.
Oh, Patrick. So that's, you can be successful in the sense of, like, multiple stores and open for 30 years. And it's like, how many people do you employ? How many people are depending on you to make sure that they still have a job tomorrow and that they still have money and they can live? Like, that's a stress. And so, yeah, there's no version of this, even if we were making a ton of money, like, it's not that we weren't stressed in 2021 when we were doing better financially. Like, you can listen to episodes of the podcast from 2021. Yeah. I guarantee we're going to be complaining on almost every single one of them just about different things.
And this is the point I like to remind people that this is us just venting on a podcast. This is not what you get when you're in the store.
That's true.
We don't have to have a facade or... not that it's a facade of the store. It's totally a facade of the store.
No. Yeah, but also Patrick is way more depressed about this than he lets on the podcast.
That's not bleak at all.
Uh-huh.
Wow.
Uh-huh.
I'm not the one who is... Never mind.
Okay. No, go ahead.
No, I won't. It's just going to be a...
Didn't say Dal wasn't depressed about this.
Who's happier on Thursday or Wednesday afternoons?
Uh-huh.
It's not a level of happier. It's just happy less.
Correct. Yes. Yeah, no, it's a tough time right now, and we are, as noted last episode, trying to figure out whatever we can figure out to keep things going, and that is easier said than done because, like I just mentioned, there's a lot of things in the industry that you can't control. So we have to respond to that in a way that we wouldn't necessarily choose to do if we were not looped into a much larger industry.
Comics niece Holly pointed out that everybody was down in March. Stores, publishers, across the board.
Doesn't shock me.
And it doesn't shock me either, but it also doesn't make me feel any better.
No, and this is something we've dealt with a lot over 15 years, is there are times when the market is just weak in ways that you can point fingers, but it's hard to say exactly what the root cause is and how to resolve it. Oftentimes, and this is intensely stressful, all you can do is wait it out. You, as a store, do whatever you can to, batten down the hatches, and then eventually there will be an uptick in the market. It's cyclical, or it's a pendulum, or whatever you want to call it, and something else will happen. Some hot book will come out, some genre will click, some product you'll carry will be really exciting to people. Your neighborhood might change or grow or whatever, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, okay, things are good. So while part of what we're trying to do is figure out, like, okay, how can we, make the store financially viable over the next few months or years, there's things that it's just down to luck. I mean, you're just doing whatever you can and then hoping one of those things results in a sustainable business model, because things in the market, weren't what they were a year ago or 2 years ago or 4 years ago or 15 years ago.
JVO had asked me about our original business plan, and looking back on...
I spelled Segway wrong. Remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you meant the things you ride.
I did.
Yeah.
Do they still make those? Do you think they do?
I don't know. There's definitely not Segway tours downtown, I don't think, anymore. But I remember our literal revenue projections were so misguided.
Yes.
But we were basing it off of the industry that we knew.
And what comparable stores in the city did.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and historically we fell into the exact same trap, and we've been Blue was like, oh, well, this is what Red's doing, and so we know we can get to this level within X amount of time, and it's like, that didn't happen and was probably never going to happen.
The ultimate threshold that was at the top of our projections for, I think, the first 5 years, we've never hit.
Nope.
We've never hit.
Nope.
Hilarious.
Uh-huh.
And this is people that have been doing their jobs for...
Patrick, we've won awards.
17 years.
We've won awards.
What I mean, yeah. Okay. Well, Dal didn't turn around and ask me the same question, but I'm
Patrick,
gonna.
Would you?
I'm gonna tell a story. I'm gonna tell a story.
Can you read? What was the question?
I just saw last night, actually, Louis Capaldi. Now, everyone who listens to this knows that I'm a huge fan of pop music, and I listen to BBC Radio 1 often. But
more for the DJs than the music, if we're being
true,
honest.
but I hear a lot of music. But
do.
also, I've been a Louis Capaldi fan for, since his first album came out.
When did that come out?
2019?
Okay.
Maybe late 2018?
Okay.
And around February or March of 2019, tickets went on sale to see him at Dahlia Hall in October of that year. And I didn't jump on them because I'm like, oh, they're not going to sell out, and I'll buy them later. I didn't have the money at that time. Like, it's only February. I don't have to buy the tickets that far in advance.
Sure.
Well, he became big. Well, I mean, not huge, but big. And they sold out, and the tickets
You
were
mean
going...
success-wise or physically?
At that point, success-wise. The pandemic made him big.
Okay.
The tickets sold out, and they were going for hundreds of dollars, and I'm like, I'm not paying for that. So I missed out. So then they announced tickets in the end of last year for a show at the Aragon, and I jumped on tickets. I'm like, I got to go this time, right?
The Byline Bank Aragon Ballroom?
Yes, the Byline Bank Aragon Ballroom. When I used to go to the Aragon Ballroom in the 80s to see, let's say, Y&T or Fraley's Comet, they'd put up folding chairs.
You said Fraley's Comet at Aragon?
Yeah.
How was that?
It was great because they sold beer for $5 in a Cool Whip tub. And then those tubs just got whipped around, like, a Cool Whip tub without the lid. That is how they sold their beer.
Beer out of it?
Yeah. And then those things just became projectiles that got hurled all around.
The only interesting thing I've ever learned on the Contest of Challengers podcast is that you drank beer out of a Cool Whip tub at a Fraley's Comet concert at the Aragon Ballroom.
No, of course I did not. I was not 21 at that point. I could not buy any beers at that show.
And then, people who thought you were a more morally upstanding person briefly were scandalized, but now...
people just throw those things around like Frisbees. And I guarantee you, they just pick those same things up, maybe clean them, that's how they reuse them. Because otherwise, we're getting all those
Maybe he's doing a lot of work in there.
Yeah.
I don't think it's true.
Agreed. I have a different ballroom story that's related to comics. But I won't go into it now.
Okay. But anyway, so you're at the Byline Bank Aragon Ballroom seeing Louis Capaldi.
Louis Capaldi is a huge... I can't stop saying words that have different meanings.
Yes.
An incredibly successful international pop star. Just finished a UK tour where he was playing sold-out arenas.
Did he play the O2 Arena?
I don't know, probably.
Okay.
Probably like 5 nights at Wembley.
Wow. No.
I don't know.
Come on.
He's a big deal.
He's got one album. 5 nights at Wembley?
He's got a second album coming out very soon. Just not before I saw him last night.
Did he play any new stuff? I'm sorry to keep
Oh, yeah.
distracting
Yeah,
you,
he
but I
did.
do have
Yeah,
legitimate
of course.
questions.
He's
Did it
got,
sound
I think
good?
he's got four. I mean, he's got 4 singles out.
So he didn't play anything brand new that you'd never heard before?
No.
Okay.
Anyway,
Sorry.
very popular, very successful international pop star. Songs go to number 1 all the time. Sells out wherever he goes.
I heard a song of his in Subway once.
I believe it. In America, he's not as well known, but he still sold out the Aragon, which when you sell out the Aragon, it is a very tight and cramped.
Yeah.
You know, it's not like selling out House of Blues. It's I think it's bigger than House of Blues.
Okay. I don't know that I've ever gone to the Aragon.
Anyway, he is a super famous, probably
Globally
financially
renowned.
well off musician,
Mm-hmm.
megastar, right?
Sure.
He has Tourette's. And it's not a secret. It's a thing he talks about often. But having Tourette's and being a public performer, you would think those things don't go hand in hand.
It certainly isn't an obstacle, I would assume.
And last night during the show, it was a very Tourette's heavy night for him. He had a lot of tics. He had a lot of spasms. He had a lot of difficulty. And a lot of his stuff, he is like a solo piano that he plays and sings, or a solo guitar that he plays and sings. He had a full backing band. But initially, he would have to stop and start a song over, or he'd stop and the crowd would sing, and he'd yell at us like, "No, I'm going to finish this song." But then the worse it got, the more he let the crowd take over singing, and then it got to the point where he'd said like, "Hey, we only have two songs left." Which means 4 songs because I have to go pee and then I'll come back and do 2 more. Never came back.
Wow.
I guess the tour manager came out and said, "Hey, Lewis, he can't finish tonight."
Yeah.
But they brought the piano player back who just solo played "Someone You Loved" and had the crowd sing it.
Okay.
The Chicago crowd was amazing and nobody complained and everybody was there for him, and he's such a caring and wonderful human being that you can't help but feel like you are seeing something special, even though he's having these spasms and these fits that clearly are bothering him
Right.
and make his life not fun.
Sure.
So my point is, no matter how much money that dude has, or how much fame, or how much celebrity, or how many number 1 albums, he still has to deal with this condition every single day.
Okay.
So A, it's never as good as you think it's
No.
going to be. And B, people have it way worse off than we do, man.
It's true.
So much worse. Even the stupid kidney stuff that I had to go through this year, which, the bills keep coming in. And they are so high, it's laughable. I kind of want to get
But free meds for the rest of the year.
Right, I kind of want to get like any other. I have just a regular GP checkup next week. I want to be like, what can we do?
Yeah.
What can you say I need to have done because it's all free for the rest of the year?
Right. Let's get this thing, like, December 30th, you should have an appointment with your doctor where it's like, prescribe me everything that will not expire as long as we can.
We tried that 5 years ago, and
Walgreens is like, no thanks.
well, no, it's not Walgreens. It's
The insurance company?
yeah.
Oh.
They're like, I'm sorry, you haven't. It's too
You
close to the
don't
time
need
period.
10 months worth of pills.
Yeah.
You don't.
But there's just other people in my life who are going through things that are way worse.
Sure.
And I was miserable during my shit, but
And again, like, the 2 things that I would bring up. One, there's people who are way less happy with their jobs than we are with ours. I mean, is there stress? Absolutely. But are there good times? Yeah, man. I have fun conversations almost every day. I like what I do for a living. I feel when it's working right and I'm not stressed out about no one coming in or buying anything, I feel good about my days. Like, when it's busy in the store, I come home so happy because I was busy working all day. I could see the benefits of it. People were buying stuff, which meant I was doing my job well. There's a real visible reward structure when you run a store.
You are always more, and I mean the general you, not you specifically,
No,
you're
but
always
me.
more satisfied with your work when you feel like you've connected with people or helped people for the
Yeah.
day. And also for me, there's a physical aspect of it as well. If I've done something, or last Friday, I put all the wheels on the IKEA shelves in Sidekicks.
Yeah, they look good.
And thanks. And it, like that kind of stuff feels productive because you can knock it out in a day.
Right.
You know, like Gina helped with taking everything off and putting stuff back on, but at the same time, she had to keep going back on the sales floor.
Sure. But, like, there's just even little things, like routine things. Like when we order something for the front table spotlight section and someone buys a book off the front table, that's a thing that, like, I was like, we should put that there. And then I ordered copies and I put it there. And then someone bought it. And it's like, oh, I did a good job. Like, maybe they wouldn't have bought that if I didn't put it there. Maybe that book wouldn't have sold as well if we didn't call it out. Maybe that section wouldn't do as well if we didn't organize it the way we did or place it where we did in the store. And all these little things where when it's all working right, again, there's just that feedback reward system of like, yeah, I'm doing a good job and I'm going to put more energy into it now because I feel like it's worthwhile. I feel like I do know what I'm doing and the store is doing well. But then there's times where just like the market is the market and you're looking around and you're like, I feel like I'm killing myself for this and nothing seems to work right. Like,
yeah.
And some of that is in your control and a lot of it is out of your control.
The last couple weekends, there have been so many people that come in, look around and leave. And I'm like, we've got so many great books here.
Yeah. More all the time. Like what
are you looking for? What did you want? What did you not see?
Yeah. Sometimes though, I've someone's looking around. It's like, hey, can I help you find anything? And they tell you what they're looking for. And it's just like, oh, this was never going to happen. Like one thing, somebody asked about like a graphic novel series that stopped being published like 7 years ago, and it's like, well, no, we don't have those anymore because we can't get them anymore, and also no one's asked about them in almost 7 years. And then the other thing was like, I don't think that's actually a print comic, like showing me on their phone like this thing that someone made, and it's like, okay, if there is a print comic, they're selling it themselves either on their website or individually to stores. Like, I can't help you here. Another one was like, oh yeah, no, someone was looking for a thing and I looked online, I couldn't find it. Like, no. And they showed me on their phone, like the portion at the bottom of the page that said the book was carried in 15 stores in the United States. Like it named every one of the 15 stores and we weren't on the list. So I was like, oh yeah, I'm sorry, I wouldn't even know. Like, I guess they reached out to those stores. I don't know why they have it. We don't.
Sure.
But there's things like that where it's like, you could carry everything in every catalog and you still wouldn't have the thing someone was looking for because it doesn't exist.
Right.
Or they don't or it's something that couldn't be gotten. Like, those times are disappointing. Or, yeah, when someone comes in and it's like, oh, I want a Deadpool action figure. And it's like, well, they haven't made a Deadpool action figure in like several years. And they probably won't until next year when the new movie comes out.
But look, here's his vampire wife. You want that?
Yeah. Like that stuff. I wish they made those all the time. And maybe if we were a store that, bought toys off of people, we would have a Deadpool figure, but like we deal with new product and they haven't made one in a while and I can't do anything about that. Stuff like that is always going to be a little frustrating because you could not have done your job any better. You'd have to be a completely different store to make that person happy, and you have to be okay with like what they were looking for was not ever going to be found. Any store they would have walked into, they would have walked out disappointed.
Here's a quick little side note.
Yes.
A week ago, World Tree #1 was supposed to come out from Image, and it shipped, but it was printed way too dark. And just like an issue of Saga years back, the creator said, "This isn't good enough. We're reprinting it. Please destroy all your copies. You will get free replacements."
Yeah, we were told about it before we received the issues, like a week in advance of it.
Right. It was too late for them to not ship them.
Yeah, Diamond was like, these are in boxes. They're already coming out to you. When you get those boxes, take these things out and destroy them and take these other ones and put them aside for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, until replacements come in, and then you can sell all the covers together.
The number of people that I know in different cities who have bought World Tree #1, cover A, is disturbing.
Misprinted cover A. That looks bad.
Yeah.
That even the creators are like, this is not how we want you to read our book.
Yeah. And some people bought it knowing it was contraband, and other people bought it just thinking it was the regular cover because it was on the shelf.
Yeah, super disappointing. We had talked about, the discussion internally was, do we sell it anyway? Because Diamond and Image and James Tynion and Tiny Onion can say, please don't sell it, please destroy it, but they can't really do anything about it.
Right.
All they can do is ask you not to do it and explain why they would prefer for you not to do it. But there's no real penalty. No. Diamond can't police all these stores. They couldn't do it for Street Dates. They certainly can't do it for one issue of World Tree. They also... You're not prohibited in any way from doing it. There's nothing, I don't think, in the terms of service that says that, once a book has been shipped, a publisher can tell you what to do with it. So all they can do is ask, and we as a store talked about it, and we weren't going to sell it on the shelf because we didn't care about the content of the book or that we didn't care about our publishing and distribution partners. The only reason we talked about potentially putting it on the shelf or selling it online is because everyone was going to do it anyway. And in these instances, the reward for us is maybe a moral victory of saying, well, we didn't sell it. The reward for everyone else was a whole bunch of money.
Yeah.
So when you're in year 15 and you have an absolutely miserable March, and a publisher is like, hey, this thing that is now going to be valuable, please don't sell it. You do have a discussion inside of like, why are we doing this? Like, and we didn't end up selling it online or on the shelves. We put it in the back.
And it wasn't even that close of a conversation.
No.
It wasn't like, we really think we should.
Yeah,
but
nobody really advocated for it.
But we definitely had the conversation.
Yeah, because we've been in that boat before where we've pulled a thing that a publisher or a distributor has said, please don't sell this. And then we're getting phone calls from people because it was the hot collectible now. And it's like, oh, we would sell out of these in a minute if we put them on the shelves. We could even sell them at a premium online because people want the rare misprinted first print of World Tree #1.
It's funny you say rare because I'm sure the print runs are identical.
But rare because a bunch of stores probably display theirs.
Yep.
So, like us, however many copies Challengers was going to have doesn't exist in the marketplace anymore.
And we went heavy on that book.
Of course we did. It's James Tynion Horror #1.
Well, but I mean, like we ordered way more of that when we did
Sure.
for like Closet because this is an ongoing.
Yeah.
Closet was 3 issues.
That's true.
In Blue Book, I just don't think it has the same crossover appeal.
Like a
But
true
World
crime
Tree,
alien thing? No.
once again, if World Tree is not on your radar, and it's a book I feel really weird about recommending because it's so bloody and violent, but it's a really good, thought-provoking horror book, and it's very akin to James Tynion's original Boom work with Memetic and Cognetic, and the third one I always forget.
Yeah, same here.
So definitely give it a look and notice that the cover looks good this week.
Yeah.
Also, it's full of nudity.
Yeah.
The main character, Fear, doesn't like wearing clothes.
Here.
F3AR.
Yeah, it'll be nice to
3-4.
actually have the book on the shelves and hope that people haven't bought it at other stores that just sold it anyway. My favorite nonsense excuse that a lot of stores have is the like, well, I didn't know I was supposed to pull it. And it's like, well, you did. You got a bunch of emails. And, stores always seem to know about the emails that directly impact them that they have to respond to. But whenever a publisher is like, hey, don't do this, it's like, what? I don't, how do I even read that? It's just the flashing lights and zeros and ones. I don't know.
Unless it's scrawled on a sheet of paper, tied to a brick, and thrown through my store window, I'm never reading any information from a publisher.
Yes. Ridiculous.
All right, Dal, we had one topic we knew we were going to cover, and about 5 or 6 minutes ago, you gave me the perfect segue,
Oh, okay.
but you didn't pause enough.
Oh, no.
So I let it go,
Uh-huh.
but you had said something about a reward system.
Sure.
And last week, we talked about eliminating our subscriber discount, which,
The pre-order discount.
yeah, it's the same thing.
Sure. But I just want to make sure that we're saying pre-order discount because that's the thing that we're getting rid of.
Yeah, we're getting rid of the pre-order discount. And yes, the way we just phrased that, you can infer that we are, in fact, eliminating the pre-order discount. However, we have, since we were discussing it last week, we've talked about it endlessly, and Dal's done a ton of work. And we
Not
have...
a ton.
Okay, 3/4 of a ton of work.
Okay.
And don't downplay it. Don't downplay all the work you
400 pounds of work. I don't think it was that much work in the grand scheme of things. It will be more work going forward, for sure. But the analysis was not a ton of work.
So there's a replacement that is official, and we hope that it brings you, if you buy your books from Challengers, Joy.
Yeah, I don't think that's a thing that'll be public facing, but we're using an app called Joy that'll be for. The thing about it that's a huge change is that instead of a pre-order discount, we're moving to a loyalty rewards program. So any place you frequent in 2023 in America, we're one of those stores now. You will be earning points for your purchases. So instead of...
I would just like to say that this afternoon I used loyalty rewards program, and in a little while after we finish recording, I think we're both going to be using a loyalty rewards program.
So one of the Taco Bell Fire rewards is now a steak quesadilla. So I got to find out, like, wait, can I sub chicken for steak and still get the Fire reward? I don't know.
I don't understand what a Fire reward is.
Fire reward is the thing they keep giving you, even if, like, it's not a points thing. It's just like an extra. Here's a thing, like, that you can use in conjunction with your purchase. I usually never use them because it's like 4 specific products.
Does Joy have that?
Can?
Like, we could just randomly say, hey, if you come in this week and use it, you can get free bags and rewards at your purchase, something like that.
We'll look into it.
I think like the idea of a pop-up reward for no reason, just to keep people on their feet, is a fun way to do the stuff.
I think we can do that. Well,
Okay.
I don't know. I'll look into it.
But anyway, let's...
But here's what Joy's... Joy is the internal app. You'll never see that facing it. So it's just generally the Challengers Loyalty Reward Program. I don't know if we'll come up with a better name for that, because I don't want to get too convoluted. I don't want to make it too like clever for its own sake.
Right.
So instead of a pre-order discount where you have to sign up for books in advance and you'll get the discount when they come in, this program you're going to be earning points off of any purchase, whether that's in-store or online. So if you're someone who is not a normal subscriber and maybe buy stuff from our website, you'll be earning points too. If you're someone who is just buy stuff off the shelf and doesn't pre-order stuff, you'll be earning points too. You earn points with every purchase. You earn
so long as... You're in our system, right?
Well, that's the thing. Like, you need to be telling us, if you're a subscriber, you're already going to be a part of this.
It's going to be automatic. You don't have to do anything.
You don't have to do anything. When you come in to get your books, you'll automatically earn points, and we'll let you know if you can redeem any points. If you are online and you have an account, which I think you kind of have to do to check out, you'll earn points, and those points will be collected, and you'll be able to see what rewards you're going to redeem. If you are someone who shops in-store, but you are not in our subscription service, we may prompt you to see if you're in our loyalty rewards program. If you have never given us any of your information before, we might have to create an account for you, which is just first name, last name, email address, and then potentially birth date, because we can do birthday rewards, but I don't know how the birthday part works yet.
So I guess the perceived downside to being a person who's normally an anonymous shopper who then gives us information, you are going to start getting emails from us.
Right. And I mean, you can always unsubscribe to those emails.
Yes, you can.
You click a little button like any place else and you stop getting those emails.
We think the emails are valuable. We've talked about them a lot in past episodes. One of the things we had done recently is split up our normal Thursday email, which was, hey, here's everything coming out next week, plus all of our events, plus a couple of books you could
pre-order.
Maybe you'd be interested. The FOCs are closing on that. But during our social media audit, we were told that our emails are way too long, and it's better to send a couple of short ones than one long one. So that's what we did. And we are seeing that the first half of the emails are still getting
a ton of traction. Just not all the way through to the end. Yeah, I think we talked about it last time, just that people aren't really pre-ordering stuff.
But yeah, we will be sending you emails if you are in our system.
Yeah.
But that's it. That's the cost. That's what you have to pay.
Yeah. Otherwise, you'll be earning points for every purchase. Currently, what we're looking at as far as how the points and the rewards are going to work is that you'll earn 10 points for every $1 spent. And then for 1,000 points, you can cash that in for a $10 off coupon, basically. The coupons are limited to 1 per transaction, so you can't bank a ton of points and then get a huge amount off of a purchase. We have to kind of balance making it valuable for you as a customer, but also something that's sustainable for us as a store. That's why we're doing this program, as the pre-order discount was not sustainable for us as a store. So while we do still want to reward frequent customers and people who shop with us, there kind of has to be a limit of how much we can do that. Hopefully that's something that still makes sense for people. I will mention that if you're looking to maximize the value of the loyalty rewards program, the more often you shop at Challengers, the better it gets for you. And I don't just mean that in the sense of like, stop shopping at other stores. I mean, the more often you come into the store or place an online order, the more rewards you can redeem, basically. And that's on top of the more points you'll earn. Beyond that, the only real thing that we're looking at as a rule right now is that points do expire. If you do not earn or redeem points within a 60-day period, those points vanish. You will eventually get notifications. That's a thing that is not currently activated in the loyalty rewards program, but it is coming soon on their page. So 30 days out and then 7 days out, you'll get a notification saying, hey, your points are about to expire. So if you do have points and you do want to use them, that's a way to kind of keep that in mind. But again, if you're someone who comes in monthly, you're going to get, maximum $10 off for your entire month. But if you come in weekly, you could get $40 off for the month, depending on what you spend and how many points you earn. I feel like one of those is a better value than the other.
Sure.
But in general, this is what we're looking at. Hopefully it is a program that people are okay with. Obviously, if it's not, we'll be sorry to see you go. I hope people feel we still have value for them beyond just a 10% discount.
We have heard from a decent number of other comic shops in the past week since we talked about this on last week's episode. Mm-hmm. And they all had nothing but positive experiences when they either got rid of their discount for a loyalty program or just got rid of the discount in general.
Yep.
Upwards to 100% retention rate. The lowest we heard was like 99%.
Sure.
The number and during the week, other like regular subscribers who listen to this podcast, we've only had one person who said, "Hey, that's going to hurt me."
Sure, and we definitely, the last thing we wanted to do was completely abandon any sort of discount or benefit or reward system because we understand that maybe not everyone, but some customers do have an expectation. Like that's how they've budgeted, that's how they've planned out their purchases, and we realize this is a change, and hopefully it's one that is for the people who are using the discount and do expect it. Like this is a way for them to retain some measure of that, but again in a way that we can keep going in 2023 when so many things have changed. I guess the two things I want to mention are, one, I was reminded talking to a subscriber this week that when I started working at another shop as a very small, higher-pitched voiced version of Dal.
I think I remember those days.
I can't even do that voice.
What do you mean? It is you doing it.
It's true.
I mean me. It's me, Dal. Uh-huh. Actually, that's the Captain Boy Chip voice.
When Captain Boy Chip was working at a shop in early years of high school, the store that I worked at had two upper tiers of like basically it was you save up your receipts for the month and then you turn them in, and based on what you spent over the last month determines your reward for the current month. And the rewards
I believe that was called the Value Club.
The Value Club.
I believe you were sitting next to the person who created the Value Club.
Yeah.
Because there was no subscription service at that point.
Yeah, so basically, let's name names. When I was working at Graham Crackers...
What? You never told me you worked there.
As a child.
Traitor!
As a child who should not have been working in a store under any circumstance.
That sounds like a thing that your mother needs to discuss, because I'm sure anybody who would wanted you to have worked would have discussed it with an adult.
That's true.
And would have said, hey, I would need to talk to your parents about that. Hey. And you would have said, in theory, well, my dad is dead, but you can call my mom.
Uh-huh. Thanks for bringing that up, Patrick.
This is all hypothetical. I don't know what you're talking about.
So, the Graham Crackers Value Club...
Oh, man, had you not thought about that in the last 42 years?
I hadn't.
Wow. Sorry.
This is also news to me. What? You seem to have a lot. You seem to have a lot of information about this, Patrick.
It's fine. You can talk about your mom as much as you want because you have one.
I do lord that over you quite a bit. I talked to my living mother today. This is the worst podcast. This is a horrible to each other.
Do you want our dads to trade places?
So anyway, when I'm working for Graham Crackers, the Graham Crackers Value Club,
There was something happened in the bathroom.
the lower tier was like bags and boards.
We all know what happened, man.
You turn in your receipts, and if you spent under a certain amount, I don't remember how much it was, but like the lower tier was like 100 bags and boards.
Yeah, actually, I think it was 100 bags, then 100 boards, then 100 bags and boards, and then discount.
But then the upper two levels were 20% and 30%
For the next month.
for the next month. But that's the thing, like if you kept spending, like you retain that discount. So obviously, like
But it's that much harder because then
for
you're getting
the month
everything
you had 30% off, you would have to essentially spend 30%. I'm not doing the math.
130% more.
To retain the discount. But like that was how it was when I started reading comics. Like it was 30% was like you could earn that just shopping at a store.
Also, the best part was you had to keep your receipts. We didn't do it for you.
Yeah. So you had to ask for a receipt. You had to hold on to them. You had to turn them in the next month. But over time, that eventually, and again, this wasn't with a pre-order program. That was just shopping at a store.
Yeah.
Eventually, things moved to more of a pre-order process and a subscription service. And the subscription
Which
service,
I want to point out, they had a subscription service way back in the day. That's when George and I started shopping there. They had we would turn in our monthly Advance Comics order form, pay for everything up front.
I remember
George would say, we can't keep doing this. We're spending like $50 a month on comics.
that's absurd. I wouldn't do it.
I know.
I remember the
we were
subscription
buying
service being more of a like
everything.
you had to know people sort of thing. Like it was a very small amount of people at Downers Grove was pulling books for. It was like maybe a dozen people.
When I first started, it was a full subscription thing we did because it was such a pain in the ass to get the books Wednesday morning, get them back to the store, check everything in, get them on the shelf, and then start pulling club.
Right. But eventually the subscription discount...
What a nightmare.
I think it went down to 15% first.
Yeah.
And then it went down to...
I remember the change from 15 to 10 and what a big deal it was.
Yeah, I think I was the one who wrote up the thing that went into people's accounts, maybe? I know there was a thing I wrote up. I don't know if it was that or if it was the, hey, you're signing a sheet that tells us that you know that you have to get your books or whatever.
I think you did both.
Maybe I did both. But it was...
You were a stickler for accountability.
Well, because you, of all people, who saved everyone's club sign-up sheets so you could rub it in their faces when they said, I thought I was down for this. And you're like, here's the thing. Did you check it off?
No club member who issued 2 of the major DC Summer crossover just said, what said, okay, that's my list. No, I will not. You now have to buy it off the shelf because you had your chance.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Dal, I will happily be your accountability buddy.
Oh, thanks, man. Is that Sammy Guevara style or Sean Spears style?
It's Wardlow style.
Oof. Oh. But anyway, the whole point of this is that when I came into this, 20 to 30% was kind of the expectation. And then now in 2023, most stores like maybe 10%, unless you
are ordering from DCBS.
Unless you're like ordering from a place that is like you prepay for everything, you have to hit certain thresholds. Like you can definitely still earn that level of discount somewhere in the industry. But I don't think most stores are just doing like, you can have 3 books on your list and you're going to get X amount of discount. Like
any store I walk into at any part of the country when I'm visiting, I always go to the counter and say, hey, what's your subscription service like? And it's all different.
Yeah, everything's all over the place. I mean, some places are very like, here's a list of every book that's out and you check this off, or you have to fill out a catalog listing every single month, or different books amounts get you different tiers of whatever. It's all over the place.
When I was in Asheville last summer, I visited 3 out of their 4 stores, and I think, if I remember right, it was like, oh, you get 10% off no matter what, even up to 1 book. One was you get a discount, we'll pull no matter what, but you don't get a discount until you get to 10. And the other one was a random, we give discounts as we see fit. Like, they didn't say that,
right.
But it's like the more they know you, the better they treat you when they're ringing you up. And it's a lot of,
that's worse.
I think this book is $5 today.
I hate that.
That's because you're never on the good list.
I'm okay with that. So yeah, we hopefully are doing something that is, transparent and something that you can, figure out the math on. So it's still
something that still works for you.
Yeah, I think it's still a net benefit.
Is there a way
it's a
to
different benefit? What's cool is
turn-
that you can do it off of everything. So yeah, we do want you to still pre-order stuff that you're down for, but you can earn points for getting bags and boards. You can earn points for picking up graphic novels
So in
during the
fact,
sale.
you have a greater potential to earn points.
Yeah.
Can we turn points off for people?
Yes.
For example, like me, I don't need points.
Yes.
Okay.
There's basically a thing. It's just like deactivate this account.
And we're going to start this. Sorry, I was getting a text from another comic book retailer
Interesting.
asking a question, but it was you, Josh. Remember that when you hear this. This is when your text came through about remembering the company that, as far as I got to read.
Yeah.
Line? What was I saying?
This is going to start.
Oh, yeah, this is going to start after Free Comic Book Day?
Okay.
Or did you want to do it like May 1st?
It's tricky because on the one hand, May 1st, the sooner the better. But on the other hand, I don't want to spend Free Comic Book Day asking people if they're in the loyalty program.
Oh, fair.
I mean, we should, because we'll have to do it the next year. But
Yeah, we can have signs up.
yeah, maybe.
Well, so
I guess so what we could do then, I could have somebody behind the counter who's just putting people into accounts. You don't even have to do it on, you could do it on your phone through the Shopify app.
Okay, so Donovan is back this year.
Okay.
So Donovan will be your register buddy.
Uh-huh.
So it wasn't like last year, wasn't it MJ who was your register buddy? Do you want to have MJ be customer loyalty reach out?
Maybe. I'll have to do some investigation because just looking at the Shopify app.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, you can do it from here. So anybody on their phone, we could just give them the app and the
Sure.
login, and then here's first name, last name, email address. And then what we'd probably have to do is I'll have to think about it.
Okay.
So I guess May 1st. I guess we'll say May 1st.
But because we're bringing it up so quickly, we're going to start
I'm gonna prime the pump.
everybody with 10,000 1% points.
What Patrick means to say is that every current subscriber to Challengers will be getting, and this is all for people in our subscription program, whether that's in store or online, will be getting 1,000 points added to their accounts when we start them. So that immediately qualifies everyone for a free $10.
Also, I think
for a $10 reward.
my thing would have had to be 100,000.
Yeah, that's why I wanted to quickly phrase it
Yeah.
a different way because you were definitely giving people something that I don't know that we were giving.
Well, I mean, mine was less.
Yeah, but that's going to start May 1st. Hopefully, again, it's a program that's still going to work for people. I think there's a lot of benefits to it.
Here's the thing, though. You got to tell us you're cashing in points. It's not going to be automatic.
No.
When I'm at Walgreens and I do a transaction and
we'll
they'll
bring
say...
it up. If we see you've got points, we'll say, hey, you've got X amount of points. You want to cash them in? You can say no and save them for the next purchase. It's fine.
That happens all the time at Walgreens. Like, oh, do you want to cash in your points?
Yeah.
No, I'm going to save it up. I wanted to point out that a lot of the rewards programs and apps that I use are mainly food-based or drink-based. Like I have Joe's Coffee, I've got Starbucks, I've got Dunkin', all to make... mainly for online ordering to make it easier so it's ready when I go to pick it up, that kind of thing. But Dunkin', for us, we're saying that if you come in 4 times a month, it unlocks your maximum potential. You know what it is for Dunkin'? 12. 12 times a month.
That's a lot. I want to say there's places that I've had where, you need to get there more than once a week.
Yeah.
I can't remember. Chipotle maybe at one point maybe had that? I don't know.
Dunkin' wants you in 3 times a week.
I guess for a lot of people because they want the crowd that's going to work, essentially.
Sure.
You're picking up coffee on your way to work.
That's literally all I do is to work or at the start of work.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I don't think 4 times is unrealistic.
And the good thing with this loyalty rewards program is that we're hopefully just scratching the surface of how we can make it valuable to you. Like Patrick's already just come up with a couple of things that we didn't necessarily talk about ahead of time, but sound like good ideas, and we're going to see if we can implement them somewhere in the future. We'll be learning this app, and we'll be figuring out all the different ways that we can make it valuable to you, and we'll be reaching out to the developers to say, hey, somebody had a good idea. Maybe we can try this.
As a peek behind the curtain, when this was pitched to me on Tuesday morning,
All of our best ideas come Tuesday mornings.
and I had a lot of questions that you couldn't answer because you hadn't done the deep dive into it.
Yeah, but my suggestion was just, what do you think about a loyalty program? And you were very like, okay, but what do we do in this situation? And it's like, I don't know. I'm just asking if you're okay with it.
And it was... it became a contentious conversation because you were getting mad at me for asking questions.
Well, because the questions were not like the theory of a loyalty program. It was, how do we do this? And it's like, I don't know.
So you're still defending being mad at me
because
for
it's
it.
like saying like,
I was trying to help it make it better.
Hey, it's like if I was saying like, hey, do you want to get dinner? And you were like, okay, but what if we went to a barbecue place and they were out of the barbecue sauce I want? And it's like,
which is a valid concern because if you have a specific type of barbecue sauce at a place you go to, it's like if we went to
way down the
Parsons
line.
and they didn't have chicken.
that was
Dow.
That's way down the line. We could go someplace else. What's my point? No one said barbecue place. You said that.
Yeah, but you could have said, oh well, we could get something different, as opposed to, I don't know if they have barbecue or not. I'm just saying it was a little angry.
I was going to quote a recurring gag from Renfield, but it would be inappropriate for this podcast.
Oh, okay. It's too bad, because it would have gotten right over my head, even though I literally just saw that movie.
I'll probably do it as soon as we stop recording.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. So anyway, that was all the work that was done in the last week.
Yes.
And it'll be moving forward in less than 2 weeks. And
if you've got thoughts or comments, you can let us know.
Again, thank you to all the stores that reached out just because they heard us talking about it and they had their own experiences to share.
Yeah.
And we appreciate the fact that the majority of retailers that we interact with regularly are all trying to make this industry work for everyone involved. Nobody takes the me first attitude. Everybody is like, oh, well, this is even if it doesn't work for you, here's what we do. Mm-hmm. That kind of helpful thing. No one is demanding respect. Everyone is earning it with their actions without ever asking for it.
Right.
And also, if you get the chance, ticks or coughs aside, Louis Capaldi Live is a phenomenal show. Thanks for listening.
And keep reading comics.
This has been Contest of Challengers. Thanks for listening. Keep reading comics. Challengers is located at 1845 Northwestern Avenue in the Bucktown neighborhood of Chicago. 773-278-0155. Keep up to date with new releases and events at challengerscomics.com. And help fund this podcast at patreon.com/challengers.
The Challenge.